Welcome to Topic Talks, where we talk about the topics you care about and leave out the ones you don't.
We talk about what most news sources don't: media, movies, and the multiverse.
We even invite guests to come talk topics with us.
Come join in on the fun.
Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Giant Conversation. This is Topic Talks. I'm your host, Aaron Clingy Smith, and today with me is Lucas.
Hi.
And then not with us today is Mark. Because he's a wimp.
Sorry, Mark.
Come on, he's a wimp, though, isn't he?
No, well, I mean, he's a lightweight. in the alcohol department. Sorry, Mark. Love you, dude, but you either gotta learn to drink with the big boys, or you gotta learn to take sippy cups. Those are the rules when you drink.
I like the sippy cup thing. That was good. Yeah. Anyway, no. So apparently Mark had a huge party last night. Didn't invite either one of us.
Rager. Just an absolute rager.
Apparently. And so he texted me, and I quote, "Dude, I'm way too hungover to come in today."
Well, that's okay. I mean, it's not okay. I would like to have Mark here, obviously. But the show must go on.
And since the show must go on.
And the fact that it's just Aaron and I today.
We can do whatever we want.
And we can do whatever we want, including one of our favorite little clips. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because it is only me and Aaron today. There is no skinny men. Will you all please stand and rise for the Fat Man Anthem?
People, I know what'll make us feel better. Let us sing the NAAFP anthem.
Stand up, all fat men, stand up straight. Stand up because no chair can hold your weight. If God created us to be so big, that's proof he must be a big fat pig. God's real flabby with an ass so wide. His arms look like pillows with cake mix inside. God's man boobs are flabby and they hurt when he jogs. And the back of God's neck looks like a pack of hot dogs.
Man, I think our voices have gotten a lot better.
Much better.
Okay.
Much better.
So now that actually applies, since Mark is not here, all fat men who have not already sat down because they retired may now be seated.
Make sure to air out your shorts for that little brief inclusion of exercise that we know just left some jungle rot in your underwear from the sweat. So
okay.
Thank you.
So, man, this is gonna be a crazy show.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
So. What do we have on the docket today, Aaron?
We have a lot on the docket. I'm just trying to get everything organized.
He is a very hardworking man, but he is a little crazy sometimes.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, okay. I try to be a hardworking guy.
You are.
Okay, good.
You work hard.
I'm glad you think so.
You just don't know where everything is sometimes. It's okay. It happens. Happens to the best of us.
Oh, man. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is something that I kind of wish I would have gotten from my teachers when I was in school. Granted, this particular thing wasn't as hard on me as it was other people, and that is the SATs. So I had to take the SAT and the MME I had to take the ACT.
I was going to say, most Michigan schools take ACT.
Yeah. So we did the ACT and the MME, but, I mean, ACT, SAT, they're pretty much the same thing.
I hated the MME. Because
I hate them both.
I understood I was fine with the ACT because the ACT has actual, you're a high school graduate-ish, you're junior, maybe you're retaken as a senior, you're a high school graduate-ish person, so you should have a general understanding of how English works, how math works, how science works. So even if you don't go to college, you're still a somewhat productive member of society.
Well, and here's my problem with this kind of testing.
Okay.
This kind of testing is, and this is something that my psych teacher brought up, because my psychology teacher that I had my first year of at Mott Community College in Michigan.
Known for their psychology degree.
Not really. But no, he is he has his degree, and he was a social worker at the school. He was a school social worker.
Yeah.
And him and I had become really good friends. And I had this thing, because I was in a special education program, I had this thing called an IEP. So it's pretty much where we got everybody in the room, like the special ed teacher that I had that was my caseworker.
Yeah.
So she's in charge of kind of like, how are your classes going,
Making
things
sure
like
everything's up to date.
Well, making
Good.
sure I got, all my tests read to me if I needed to, and all these kind of things. And so that was nice to have. Well, it was a meeting with them, with like that person, because I've had a guy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
That person I've had, there's the head of the special ed department.
Yep.
And then usually my mom and my dad, my grandma would go, and I would be there, and maybe one teacher. And this particular year, it was my math teacher. I'd had the same math teacher all through high school, except for my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And she was my case manager, like I want to say either sophomore or junior year. It was somewhere in the middle. It wasn't freshman and it wasn't senior.
Mm-hmm.
But we were doing the IEP, and she, and this particular instructor comes in. His name was Terry Reen. He came in and he said, "This is one of the best students I've ever had in my entire life. Like, he's awesome. I'm the school social worker, blah, blah, blah." And he just gave me like a glowing review.
Yeah.
And I had a couple teachers do something like that. So, when I found out he was retiring the same year that I graduated, so 2012, he retired and I graduated.
Yeah.
And so I went in when he was packing up his office, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, "Oh, so I heard you were retiring." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I just, there's certain aspects of the school industry that I don't like." And later I talked to him about it, and he said that one of the reasons he got out when he did was because Grand Blanc makes all of their students all of Michigan actually makes them take the standardized testing, and he thinks it's wrong for this reason, and I agree.
What's that?
Those kind of tests are designed for people who are going to a 4-year college straight out of high school. That is the entire purpose of standardized testing.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
So it doesn't help at all.
No.
For kids like me who knew he was going to community college right out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
or people who don't even think they're going to go to college right out of high school. Maybe they're going to go to a trade. And so you have the entire school flipping out and worrying about this test that may not even be relevant to them.
Yeah, true.
Because if I were to, so say I went to a year at Mott and then go to a 4-year college,
Mm-hmm.
they would not even have looked at my ACT scores.
Well, here's the thing. The reason that most schools do,
Right.
is because when you test through the school,
Mhm.
just going to in your junior year, and you're like, okay, now we're going to take the ACT, is because it's free. I think that's the big part, is that, okay, well, maybe you don't go to a 4-year degree school, maybe you go to a small community school, maybe you go to a really short liberal arts college,
Right.
or something, or even like we did when we went to Specs.
Right.
You don't really need an ACT to go to Specs.
Right.
I know quite a few people that probably didn't pass the ACT that went to Specs.
And they didn't pass the specs either.
There's not really much of a correlation there, but I think the reason that people get so finicky about it for juniors taking the ACT and the MME is that it's a free standardized test. I wish they would get rid of the part of it where the written essay part.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of that.
See, I feel like they should still offer it for free.
Yeah.
But make it optional.
Yes, that's right. Because it is optional. No, not through schools. But if you go to retake it,
Right.
you don't have to. You can opt out of it because it's not a mandatory part.
My school would not let me graduate unless you passed with.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's messed up. My Clarkson did.
Because
do that.
and so here's how I was different. So you know how everybody got one score. It was just a number. I scored this in the you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I was in special ed, they broke mine down into sections. So I got this on this section, this on this section, this on this section. And it was scored differently. So I got a number for each section.
Mhm.
And if my number was below this,
Yeah.
I would go in and retake it.
Okay.
And I wouldn't retake that. I would retake
Something similar to it.
a dumbed down version
Okay.
of because at this point, and I even had teachers say this. She's like, "You already know," because it was in my written IEP plan that I was
Yeah.
going to a community college because of how my math was working out. Because
Mm-hmm.
I took pre-algebra when I started high school because almost failed the 8th grade. So when I got in, I had to take pre-algebra. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sophomore year, at the end of that year, my teacher's like, "You did fantastic, but there was one part kind of in the middle of the year that you struggled with.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really beneficial for you to take this again, just so you get that down, because it's a very crucial part when you get to Algebra 2 or on, or
Mhm.
Algebra 1. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, but how is that going to work with me? And she's like, well, you don't need Algebra 2. You
Yeah.
can be exempt from that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I took out pre-algebra again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, midway through that year, I think it was either the school or the state made it mandatory that you get through Algebra 2.
Yeah.
Which screwed my plan out of the water completely.
Mm-hmm.
So then at my IEP, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? She said, okay, here's how it's going to work. Your pre-algebra, your second time taking pre-algebra is going to count as your Algebra 1 credit.
Mm-hmm.
When you take Algebra 1, that's going to count as your Algebra 2 credit. Then your senior year, you just take geometry and you're done.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, cool.
Sweet.
I went with a lot of people who knew what they were doing, was able to get me through school, and I mean, I still know algebra. I mean, I probably couldn't sit down and actually, do it. I would have to go back through my notes, but I could go back and read my notes and, do it perfectly fine. And that's just because I'm out of practice. I haven't done it since I got out of high school.
Yeah.
So, but so I got the raw score, and there were 2 sections that I failed.
Yeah.
So I went back and I'm like, okay, how does this work? She said, well, I'm going to give you this test. You're going to go over there and take it. And when you're done, you just let me know. She said, you can get as much time as you want to. It's not timed or anything. If you don't get it finished today, make an appointment with me or come back tomorrow, and we'll just keep doing this until it's done.
Yeah.
I said, okay, cool. And I asked a question. I said, well, what happens if I don't do well on this portion?
Mm-hmm.
She said, let me put it this way. If you don't do well on this portion, we're going to reschedule. You and I are going to walk into that conference room, sit down, and I'm going to make sure you pass it. Because it was literally pointless for me to take. I mean, they're like, okay, what was your ATC score? Mine was crappy.
Yeah.
But it was really, you got in, yay, it's community college. Anybody pretty much gets in.
Yeah.
So
that's why the 5th year seniors can get to a community college.
But I'm like, I don't need this.
No.
But I've stressed out over it for a week. Anyway, so back to the story. So this teacher, which I feel like some teachers could have done for me or kind of did the same thing, but not just straight out. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't write me. So this teacher wrote a letter to a student before his SAT week, and it said, it went a little something like this. He said, next week you will sit down at your SAT test for the next test for. Sorry, it's written really weird.
Here, you want me to go through it?
No, I got it.
Okay.
But look how weird it's written. You will sit your SAT test for math, reading, and Spank. We know that you have worked hard.
Is that
but
Spanglish?
I don't know. That's what I thought. We know you've worked hard, but there's something very important you must know. The SAT tests do not assess all of what makes you a special and unique. The people who created these tests and score them do not know each of you in the way that we do, and certainly not in the way your families do. They do not know some of you speak 2 languages and that you love singing, drawing. They have not seen how talented you are at dancing, playing musical instruments. They do not know your friends, or that your friends can count on you, be there, and you will be there for them. Holy crap. And that your laughter is infectious and cheers everyone up, and when your faces turn red and feel shy. They do not know that you participate in sports, wonder about the future, or sometimes help your little brother or sister with their homework. They do not know that you are kind, trustworthy, thoughtful, and every day and that every day you try to be the best you can be. The results that you will get from these tests are important and will tell you something, but they will not tell you everything. There are many ways of being smart. You are smart. Witless?
Whilst.
Thank you.
Yes.
Whilst you do your final preparations for the test, remember that they are testing a small part of you, and there's no way to test all of the amazing things that make you you. Educating is the
Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Aristotle.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good luck. Believe. Now that's a powerful. I mean, if I would have gotten something like that when I was taking this test. Now it didn't freak me out that much because, like, I took the first, like, the pre-ACT.
Yeah.
And I did horrible. Like, they gave us our scores, but they gave me a raw score.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm gonna fail this thing. I'm like, I'm not gonna graduate. And I started freaking out. My teacher was like, listen, they're like, don't worry about it. We've got you. And that was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And I really do like how this was worded because it doesn't. You and I are
You
great.
didn't sound like you liked how it was worded.
Okay. So some of it was worded weird, like the beginning. It
Gotta
says
love
the test
between English and American.
Well, it says the ACT test does not access. Or no, sorry, I jumped down one. Next week you will sit your SAT test.
Yeah. And they all. You know what the weird thing is? They don't say math.
Wouldn't it be sit down?
They say maths.
Maths.
Yeah, because it is mathematics.
Well, okay.
But
a little bit of backstory. Yeah. This did come from England.
Yes.
So that could be the difference that I'm missing.
Yeah. I knew that. This is from England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but so no, I just really love what it's saying.
Yeah.
Because it's so true. Like, you and I are great at this. We are great at talking and being broadcasters.
Yeah.
Okay, we're really good at it. I probably, if I would have taken the ACT, or if I were to take it today, I probably would fail it. Because it's not testing whether I'm good at this. It's testing me whether I'm good at math, reading, English, writing. And as you could probably tell, sometimes I'm not the greatest at reading. Or math or other things.
See, and I agree because I agree with you on part of it. Because it is important to remember that an SAT or an ACT does not totally define your abilities.
Right.
Because it is simply just math, reading, possibly writing, and science.
Right.
Right. So it's not those are just like your basic core understanding things. And that there's a reason people focus on those, because those are the most applicable to everybody's life.
Right.
If you had a part of the SAT was about being a dance major, I would fail.
Me too.
Because I don't know a pirouette from a tango. And those are, from what I know, those are two very different styles of dancing.
I didn't even know that the first one was a style of dancing.
I'm pretty sure it's ballet.
Okay.
But the other issue I kind of have is when you say stuff like this, obviously, need to give the kids like a little bit of a, like, hey, relax. It's gonna be all good. It's
right.
No big deal. It's no big deal. However, for most people that take the SAT, that do end up going to a 4-year university or something more, the administration, and for most people, every administration does not care that you are good at sports. They unless it's here in the States and you can provide to be a good player for their top end talent.
Right.
Most universities don't care you played sports. They don't care that you can sing great. They don't care that you play instruments, and they don't care about a lot of stuff. They care about the measurables that you give, your GPA, your ACT, and how you accumulated that GPA.
Right.
So they care about numbers. And I do love this stuff, and I think it's important to sit kids down and say, hey, it's okay. It's not the be-all, end-all. But I also don't like how I just don't like how he totally said, don't worry about it. They don't know you. It's like, well, they don't care.
Right.
Therein lies the difference. It's not that they don't want. It's not that they don't know you and they want to know you. It's that they don't know you and they never will. So it's
See, I think this was geared towards more of a student like me who knew he was going, he wasn't going to university.
Yeah.
He was going to a community college, trade school, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
but was forced to take an exam that probably didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I said, to me, my ACT scores and my MME scores did not matter whatsoever.
No.
Like I said, yeah, Mott took them because, to make it seem like it's not 100% useless, but it was 100% useless.
Well, when I went to Wayne, I was pretty much set because I was going on a football scholarship,
Right.
but I still needed to prove that I wasn't a total idiot. But at the same
You're not?
time, no,
Oh, okay.
surprisingly. But at the same time, Wayne State's entrance levels,
Right.
they are like one of the easiest schools to get into in this state.
Right.
You need a 2.75,
Right.
which for anyone that's trying to go to a 4-year university, that's not too hard.
No.
If you're not trying to go to a 4-year university like yourself, then that doesn't really make a difference. But for people that want to go be a sociologist or someone who wants to go study medicine, a 2.75 is not that hard to get, and a minimum of like a 25 on the ACT.
Right.
That's if you want to be a doctor, that's a low end. You don't have to waste your brain power in high school if you want to go to Wayne State to be a doctor. Not trying to smash on Wayne State, just putting it out there. Same thing with Saginaw Valley.
Right.
It's very, very easy to get into school. But yeah, I like it. Again, I like it. I think it's important that kids realize that, hey, if school, not necessarily school, but if these kind of things aren't your biggest drive, don't worry too much. All right.
Right.
And then that kind of goes in the whole what should be considered education and what shouldn't. Like I said before, a dance major. Why is that a major? Why do you go to school to learn dance?
Because you've got to look at backup dancers. Like there's a huge industry for people who can dance.
Oh, I know there is. I'm not saying that you shouldn't learn how to dance if you want to be a dancer. What I'm saying is, don't go to Oakland University and waste, $40,000
Right.
over a course of 2 years, 2-3 years, and so overall probably closer to $60,000 on a dancing major. Go find the best schools that are specifically for dancing,
Right.
for understanding dancing. Now there are some things you can't do that with. You can do it with broadcasting, like we have with Specs. You have over on the East Coast, you have the Connecticut School of Broadcasting,
Right.
which is revered as a very good broadcasting school. If you want to be an actor, you go to an accomplished thespian. You go to Juilliard.
Right.
They are focused solely on making Shakespearean actors. Right.
It's funny because there's a girl in my class at Specs that wanted to be an actress.
Is she not any good?
She went to Specs
Uh-huh.
because she wanted to learn how to be in front of the camera. She was horrible in front of the camera.
That's not good.
And she didn't graduate with everyone else.
That should tell you that your dreams of being an actress are not going to happen. My dreams of being an actress were crushed when I realized that actresses are girls. But yeah, that's where it kind of goes for me. Is there's a few other tangents that I can get into about that.
Right.
As far as if like it says right here, if you're playing a musical instrument, all right, if you want to be a successful orchestral musician, go to school because you have to. You have to learn the basics. You have to learn theory. You have to learn. If you want to be in a rock band and you want to be successful, don't go to school.
Right.
I'm not saying that to say don't learn stuff, but most of the best musicians are not classically trained musicians.
Well, and it's funny. It's funny because this doesn't even say like if you want to go to college. It just says the people that created this test are not looking at this.
No, they aren't. True.
And so, like I said, I think it's very true. I really do not like the idea how everybody is forced to take this test that, like I said, in my case, didn't really mean anything.
What's the one quote? If you judge a fish on how well it can climb, You'll spend its whole life thinking it's a failure.
Right.
So same kind of thing.
Well, because that made me feel dumb.
Yeah.
It really did, and I was I got through high school, and I'm on to specs, and I even did a little bit in a community college for something else. I'm not by any means a dumb person, but it made me feel very dumb.
But the last thing I'll say about it, the MME, dear God, Michigan, stop. I mean, you want to insult people's intelligence? Have them keep taking the MME. I'm sorry, because no, I'm not kidding. I remember to this day we were taking the MME, and in that packet there was a question that had a slide in the question, the little thing on the actual workbook.
Yeah.
It had, all right, look at the diagram above. Okay, what is the diagram above? This is a slider for the levels for a lawnmower's blades, and it had 1 through like 10 on it. And it's like, the slider is moved from 5 to 7. What is the number that it skipped to go from 5 to 7? 6! The number is 6! You've given me... I don't even have to think about it because you gave it to me in the diagram! Why is this a question? I legitimately sat in my chair and went... Because
I wanted you to say, I broke out with that exact response, and the teacher told me to be quiet.
I was tempted to, because it's like, I wanted to be like, this is dumb! Like, this basically tests, are you brain dead, or did you even learn anything past 3rd grade?
Are you Ozzy Osbourne, or are you Kim Kardashian?
Basically. Ozzy Osbourne before or after drugs, because...
Before or after...
Jeez. It's like there's no it was not like telling of the person's intelligence. It was like, did their brain fully form after they were born? If not, this person probably isn't the guy you're looking for. Anyway.
No, I think that's just Michigan's way to sprout out and go, look, we matter.
Look, we matter.
And I'm like, listen, hold on. We're the state that's in the shape of a mitten.
We are known for one thing and one thing only.
That we are the
cherries.
And fudge.
Fudge.
And conies.
Did you hear that?
And Verners.
Did you hear American Coney celebrated its 100th anniversary?
I did not.
Yeah, it was last week. They were giving away free conies. I missed it.
Me too. How did the two fat guys miss that?
I know, right?
I feel like that should have popped up on our phones.
Exactly. Ding.
Man, National Coney Day, you would have gotten a text from me. Dude, you want to go get some conies on National Coney Day?
Yeah.
No, anyway, so I saw this, and I thought it was a great story. Mostly because of the fact that it was a letter saying pretty much what I've heard a lot of teachers say.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't test who you are. It's testing somewhat of what you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I just realized the other day that everybody who ever got up in the middle of class and said, this is dumb, it's not going to apply, when I was in any high school class ever, I'm pretty sure was correct. Because when was the last time I had to use algebra?
Well, algebra is not necessarily for the, trying to find out a parabolic curve. That's just setting you up for calculus. Algebra.
No, but I literally had kids stand up in my algebra class and go, this is dumb. I'm never going to use this. And the teacher goes, yeah, you are. And she gave a whole bunch of examples. And I love the teacher. I love her to death. But the kid was right. I have not used algebra, geometry, or any of the sort.
Well, math in itself isn't necessarily just for figuring out, like, equations.
Right.
It's for problem solving. If you do algebra, it's because you have to factor in. You have to put in factors when you do algebra.
Right.
So that's kind of why they deem it important. Is because of problem solving.
No, I know, but I think it's funny the other day that I just had the revelation that every kid that ever stood up and said that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure.
It's almost always right.
And almost always. And I sat in class and I go, no, you know what? The teacher knows what she's doing. It's probably like...
She's a smart lady. She went to school for this.
This kid is disrupting my learning. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was right. Now, granted, one of the kids that did that, I looked up his Facebook profile, and he's got a picture wearing 2 big gold chains, and I'm pretty sure he's done nothing with his life at all. Like, he is as bad as my stepbrother. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. So
So
speaking of people who have tough times, but are very hopeful, this next story
there you go.
is amazing.
Now you're taking my segues away from me.
Dude, hey,
Anyway.
I'm like that. So you gotta be on top.
So, what he's getting at is there's this little boy who was diagnosed with cancer, and it's not clear, it's unclear what kind or when this kind of all took place.
But it was not like benign. It was
serious. He was dying. And so his mom contacted this comedian. And I actually what is the comedian's name?
Russell Howard.
Russell Howard.
He's an
Thank you.
English comedian. So if you haven't heard of him, that's probably why.
I wished I would have heard of him because this was really funny.
Oh, he's hilarious. If you go look him up online, he is insanely funny.
Anyway, so his mom reached out to the comedian saying that she wanted to, or that his son wanted to meet this comedian. And he's like, okay, yeah, cool. What? So he went in to meet this kid, and he said he had a great time, and this kid knew every single one of his jokes. Like he had an iPad with every single one of this comedian's jokes on it, and he was literally going through with the comedian going, oh, this is funny, this is funny, this is crap, this is funny, this is funny.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there was a segment that he did a long time ago that apparently he'd forgotten about.
Yeah, where he dressed up as something.
He dressed up as a male genitalia.
Yes.
And chased old ladies around, which in this day and age is something that's very hilarious. I'm pretty sure I probably would have laughed if I would have saw one of the videos, and I may or may not be looking it up after we get done with the show. Either way, so that was one of this kid's favorite bits that this comedian did. And he's like, I forgot about that. Well, so he had, the video that we watched was of this comedian telling this entire story. And he said that he completely forgot about this. And he said this kid was just hilarious.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how this kid, which I believe it says his name. I had it. No, it does not say the little boy's name. Anyway, so this little boy was apparently really funny.
Yeah.
And this comedian, Russell, went and visited him several times. And one time he was talking to this kid, and this kid was planning his own funeral.
Yeah, he got to a point where it was
bad.
It was kind of like, okay, I'm over the hill. I'm probably not going to come back from this. So he was signing his own, papers.
And so he was planning his own funeral. And one of the things that makes this funny is he made it so everyone had to dress up,
but not in like
not
goofy,
in a suit,
not in goofy or anything like silly, but like legitimately
like dark
humor.
Like he was making his dad dress up as the Grim Reaper,
and every time that his dad had to point out something to somebody or point
towards
no.
What it was is every time somebody would cough in the middle of his service, his dad had to stand up and point
what's the thing
called?
Scythe.
His scythe at that person.
Yeah,
which I think is very funny. If I ever went to a funeral, and that I would laugh really hard. I mean, I've joked to my best friend. I said, okay, whoever dies first, the other person is to bring a cooler full of beer to the funeral.
Put one in your hand
and make it a party.
Nice.
And so anyway, and he's like, and he asked this comedian to come to his funeral. So Russell's like, because what do you say? Will you come to my funeral?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Apparently the kid looked at him and goes, don't be a dick. So he's like, okay, what do you want me to dress up as? I think you know. So he goes on to tell the story, and you really need to watch this video. It makes it a lot funnier. But he starts telling the story about how he's got the route all planned out, and he's gonna wear this costume, and he has somebody wearing the costume, brings him out on stage, and it is very an elaborate costume.
It's very vibrant.
Anyway, so the kid wants him to wear this outfit of male genitalia to his funeral, and he said, okay, but I want you to sign, like, I want a letter from you signed saying that this is what you want me to wear, because he said, wouldn't this be, the comedian was thinking, wouldn't this be the ultimate joke if he walked in
to a very solemn, depressed, all black attire funeral,
and he's dressed up as a
stick and dingleberries,
right?
And that's and I understand where he's coming from, because I would do that.
Oh
to
yeah,
my own father.
Oh yeah,
if I could. It's awesome, but thankfully though, the good news,
because there is some good news to this.
Even better news.
There is. The little boy apparently because like I said, this comedian who visited this kid, he'd actually become very good friends with him. The comedian went and visited around Christmas time, and again, I don't know what year this was, but he went and visited the kid, and he was apparently given 3 days to live, or like 3 weeks or 3 days to live, and it's now Christmas, and he went. This comedian went there, and the kid went to the doctor, and all the tests were clear. His white blood cell count was up.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was fine. He was literally a healthy kid. He was going to live.
Yeah, it was in remission. So
the comedian is like, "This is fantastic," and the comedian Russell was like, "Hey, would you mind if I told this story in my special?" He's like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah," and he's like, "Okay," and he said, "And how about at the end of the DVD, you walk out on stage?"
No.
And he's like, "No." He's like, "Yeah." And he said, "What do you want me to wear?" "Oh, I think you know."
No.
So this kid comes out in a costume that looks like
the costume I mentioned before.
I was trying to get you to think of another funny phrase for
his Johnson and Meatballs.
Johnson and Meatballs. But in this costume, and at the beginning of the thing, he had said this. I met this 12-year-old kid. Then he goes Murr.
Murr.
And so the kid walks out in this costume, and he's like, "Hey, is there anything you would like to see for or
say to
the audience?" He gives the microphone to the kid, and the kid goes
Murr.
But this video is hilarious. It's really it is a must watch. If you do want to watch it, it is on YouTube. All you've got to do is search.
We cut out. We're not.
What?
I can't hear myself.
Well, I'm still here.
Oh, I've lost everything.
Oh. I know why. I'll fix that.
Okay.
Anyway, no. So it will be under Boy with Cancer asks comedian to attend funeral. And so anyway, so that's what you're going to search on YouTube. And if you want to see it, it is also in the description below. It'll be one of the Sunny Skies links. It'll say Sunny Skies, Happy Videos. A boy asks a comedian to attend his funeral, but makes an unusual request. So that's kind of what you're going to look for. If you want to see this video, again, I highly recommend it. It is very, 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 very funny.
It's awesome.
So I'm gonna kick it away to, because Mark's not here, I'm gonna kick it away to Lucas for Welcome to
The Multiverse.
I'm still not here.
I know, just keep going.
Am I back? Am I back now?
You've been on. You just can't hear yourself.
Oh, that's not.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Cool. All right. That was confusing. All right. So, as Aaron said, Mark isn't here, so I'm going to take over the multiverse for today and today only. And what Mark has prepared for us is actually pretty interesting. if anyone out there has ever had a relative or even themselves go through a serious surgery, there we go. I can hear myself again. Watch your head.
I figured it out. I hit a button.
I hit a button.
Don't mind me.
A serious surgery where they've had something that needs to be replaced, either bone or cartilage or even reattaching of tendons or reconstructing of major joints. It can be a pretty tricky process because you have to get prosthetics and you have to get fake things. If you take away a hip, you have to actually they take off the end of your femur that goes into your hip and they put a giant ball bearing in place. So what this company has done, the Swedish research team has done, is they're starting to hit milestones in 3D printing for cartilage.
Huh.
So and for those of you who don't know, cartilage is a thing that usually resides between your bones. They designed a new process for producing this cartilage. They were saying that the cells taken from real patients who underwent knee surgery, the cells were manipulated to revert to stem cells, which they were then encapsulated in cellulose material and printed using a 3D bioprinter. So they're actually it's not like an artificial cartilage. It's their actual cartilage that they refine back down into stem cells and then recreated into new young cartilage.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
They're taking old cartilage.
Yep.
And turning it into
stem cells.
Yes. And so they're pretty much making a block of this person's cartilage and carving into it with a 3D printer.
What do you mean a block? Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yes.
Or mass.
Well, you don't really carve with a 3D printer. So what they do is they take the cartilage that's been broken down to a stem cell, and then with a 3D bioprinter, which is exactly like a 3D printer,
right,
or just map stuff out, they make the cartilage anew. So it's new cartilage made from old cartilage. It's kind of like when you go and you see a nice 2001 Impala, but you know it's probably really beat up after years, and you find out it's all new parts, so it's not really even the same Impala anymore.
Right.
Which don't get an Impala anyway.
Right.
But
drive American.
But these researchers were the first to do this, the first to transform cartilage from stem cells into new cartilage. And for those of you who are animal lovers out there, they did this with no animal testing whatsoever. So no mice that probably would have had babies anyway shortly after the experiment are totally fine. But this is a growing area of science that has been exploding since about 2013, and Cornell University was the first. Back in 2013, Cornell University was one of the first to make human tissue with this 3D bioprinter technology, and they made a pair of human ears from cows. Did you hear that, Aaron?
They made human what from cows?
Ears.
Why from cows?
Do not know, but it says that they took cow cells and they transformed them into human ears.
So they have a. I'm trying to think of a good way to.
You're trying to think of a pun, but it's not coming to you.
It's not.
But the same year, Princeton University claimed that some of the 3D printed ears they produced could hear at frequencies that are far outside of the normal range for human hearing. So
they pretty much formed a mutant.
Basically.
Marvel or DC are upon us.
My, how the times are changing.
They created Dumbo.
They did it. They did Dumbo. It's all a conspiracy. But the latest research points toward a future in which scientists can generate cartilage based off a patient's own stem cells and use that cartilage in the patient's body. So this isn't a full-blown operation yet. Like, you can't just go into a major hospital and like,
I want my ear reprinted.
exactly. I done blow my ear off using it on a firework holder, and now I can't hear no more. So this isn't a totally usable technology. It still has a few years.
But it's moving along.
It's moving along. Researchers warned of one roadblock.
Wait a minute, they're cutting herb up and turning him into ears?
They're cutting herb up and turning them into ears.
God damn it.
But researchers warned of one roadblock that they still need to overcome, and that is the kind of cellulose they used in the printing process might not be well suited for the human body. They said they hope to explore another material that can be broken down and absorbed by the body, safely leaving only the androgynous cartilage behind. They also noted that this method requires large amounts of live stem cells, which... if you've ever heard of anything that's science-related that involves stem cells, it comes with controversy out the wazoo.
Let's face it. What doesn't come with controversy these days?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, you could be talking...
People make it to become famous. People try to get away from it because they are famous.
And then...
people who try to do good things and get...
crapped on because they...
we can't even have goddamn elephants in the circus anymore because...
No. Well, did you hear Barnum and Bailey closed?
Yep, Barnum and Bailey, and there was another one that closed.
I don't know that one, but I did hear Barnum and Bailey closed.
What was it? The Ringling Brothers.
Ah.
Ringling Brothers and Balaam and Barney are...
I think Ringling and Barnum and Bailey are the same ones.
No.
They aren't?
Two different circuses.
Okay.
Anyway, they're two of the most iconic circuses around, and they've closed.
Of course.
And I have some circus friends. I volunteer at the Shrine Circus every year.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the old ringleaders, because they have a different... sometimes they have a different group every year. Sometimes they have some of the same people.
Uh-huh.
The ringleader from not last year, but the year before, is actually a really good friend of mine now, and I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's got his own circus. It's just a little one ring circus. And he wanted to actually buy one of the train cars for the... I think it was the Ringling Brothers. Let me look, because there was two big circuses that shut down. But he wanted to buy one of the cars, but the people who bought...
Yeah.
Something about the people who bought the rights to it or something said that whoever bought the cars had to strip the name off.
Oh.
It couldn't... if they were caught with the name, they would get sued or something like that.
Oh, that's not good.
But he grew up in some of those train cars. He was, he grew up with the circus, and he actually wanted to be he wanted to be an actor. And he ended up being a ringleader in a circus.
He was a thespian. But, no, so yeah, just about everything comes with controversy nowadays. Especially the stem cell stuff. For those of you that don't know what stem cells are basically what babies in the womb are made of. So as the fetus is forming inside of a woman's body, the cells that are actually turning into all the other cells as far as organs or skin. Oh, I guess skin is technically an organ. Either way, like your stomach, skin, teeth, brain, hands, feet, all that stuff originally starts as stem cells, and they're very plentiful.
Yeah, it's the Ringling and the Barnum
and Bailey.
Yep.
So all those cells are still floating around inside, even after the baby has been formed. So if you take all the cells that are still inside a woman's stomach and her uterus after the baby's formed, there's still stem cells lying around. However, the controversy comes from the easiest way they get stem cells is via abortions.
Right.
And that's what causes the controversy. It's not, oh, well, why don't you just go and, scrape up, stem cells after? Well, that's the thing there, Sheriff Andy. It comes from babies. So, but
wait, can't they? But they could actually if they wanted to go.
There's not many after babies formed. That's the issue. Is that there is some, but the amount, the percentage of them that are left over is not as much as obviously before.
Right.
The baby is totally formed. But you know what contradicts controversy? Non-controversy. You know what we have that's not controversial? Well, actually, you know what? Since it's Mel Brooks, it might be controversial. Who knows?
What do we have?
We have Spaceballs.
Movie Madness Monday. Movie Madness Monday.
So why are we talking about Spaceballs? You probably are all asking that same question. It's because there
Why
might
not?
be a... Let me see if I can get it. Drum roll, please. Spaceballs 2.
What?
I'm super excited.
Nah.
May the Schwartz be with you.
And Schwartz be with you too.
No. So since Star Wars is kind of have this big comeback with Rogue One and all the other movies that are slated to come out,
Episode 7 and 8. Yep.
and all the prequels that are coming out,
Yeah.
like the backstory for I think Han Solo is one of them,
Yeah.
and all those. Mel Brooks is in talks with the MGM production into making a Spaceballs 2.
This is a good thing for America.
I don't know, because you brought up a couple facts that makes me that makes me kind of wish it wasn't gonna happen.
Well, because Mel Brooks's idea of comedy is very much not the idea of comedy in the 21st century.
Well, no, not that. No, everybody loves Spaceballs.
Yeah.
To this day. The problem being John Candy.
Oh, okay, yeah. John Candy. And,
He won't be in it, so you're gonna have to replace him, which is
He's
one of my
dead.
biggest pet peeves.
He's dead, by the way.
So either you're gonna have to kill off his character, which you could do in this movie
Yeah.
to spark the new one, which
Mhm.
would be funny. Or you replace him with somebody who is not nearly as funny as John Candy, and it will.
I don't even know a good chunky actor that's funny right now.
Well, the only one that I can think of is Mexican, and that's Gabriel Iglesias, and I
And
do
he
not
would-
think he'd know.
He would not fit that
No.
one bit.
I mean, I guess you got Jim Gaffigan.
But he's not John Candy size.
No.
That's there. Oh, you know who could do it
Who?
if he wanted to? Is the big guy from Cheers. Remember Norm from Cheers?
Oh yeah, he could do it.
He could do it. He's old enough to the point where it'd be like, oh, hey, that's
You know who else could do it?
who?
The guy who played what's his name? In Roseanne. He played the dad.
Oh, John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Goodman can do it.
John
too.
Goodman could do it. That would be funny. I would watch that. That would be I think he could do. Actually, I think he would be the best option
Yeah, probably.
because he has been in funny roles before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you saw when he was in the animated version of the Flintstones.
Yes.
Or in the live action version
Yeah.
of Flintstones. That was funny.
Yep.
I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like it because it was a live action. I don't
As
care.
long
It
as
was
it's
funny.
not Kevin James, I'm okay. I mean,
Kevin James.
oh, you know it'd be so terrible as if Adam Sandler became an executive producer. Oh gosh.
Why is that? What was?
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh,
they
Kevin
haven't said.
Kevin James is okay. I know who he is.
Okay, I thought you would have gotten that instantly, but
I needed a face.
okay,
It took me a second. Once you made the Adam Sandler comment, I'm like, all right.
I got it.
I don't know. I think Kevin James could
No.
do it.
It-
I feel like
he does not have the subtlety to do it.
I feel like John Goodman would be better.
He would be much better.
But you got that, and then you would have to replace or kill off the robot that was played by
Joan Rivers. Yeah.
Or if you get a really, 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 really good editor in there and get a collage of everything she's ever said,
Yeah,
you
true.
may be able to pull it off.
You could. Very, very, very
Because they
much
really
possible.
don't need her to actually be there.
I'm pretty sure someone out there has a pretty darn good Joan Rivers impression, though.
They could do that too.
I
I didn't even think about that. Because it would take a massive amount of editing to...
mean, not really.
I mean, you could take
You mean to take all her things she's ever said and then turn them into movie
Spaceballs.
quotes? Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. That'd be impossible.
Not impossible.
just improbable.
No, it would be very much possible. It would just take a lot of editors.
Yeah.
No, anyway. So
I mean, I
feel a little bit better about it now.
I do think that this movie could be in danger because the type of comedy that Mel Brooks did, you know, people who have anyone who's ever like quote unquote studied comedy, if you look at some of the funniest people ever, they end up usually being Jewish comedians. Like no, seriously, Larry David, Mel Brooks, all those guys, you know, they're Jewish comedians, and people joke about it, but it's because if you look at Jewish history, it's kind of a non sequitur of a history. It's like, hey, we have all these promises that things are going to be great, and then crap. So,
right.
So you live through that, and you're like, oh, that's where they get all their comedy from. But his style of comedy, I don't know if like our generation of people will go see that. I know our parents will, and I know maybe
I would.
Our grandparents would.
I know a lot of people that I actually went to school with that love the movie Spaceballs.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if the generations below us would go and see it.
That's true too. The more recent millennial class,
right?
Yeah.
But I do believe that our generation, like our actual part of our generation,
yeah, the 90s
and up,
yeah,
would love it and be enough to support it.
Maybe
not for a third.
Oh, definitely not.
But enough for them to make back what they paid and for it to be a profitable movie.
Probably.
I actually think it might do really good. I strongly believe it would do really good.
I hope it does. Like, I watched Blazing Saddles when it came out on Netflix, and I love watching Mel Brooks stuff.
Mel Brooks is funny.
But even some of the Blazing Saddles stuff, I was like, okay, when's it gonna get funny?
Right.
And that wasn't because I found the jokes tasteless. I just didn't find them funny. It's like I saw some that were good, but it was like, I'm like, this Netflix released this, or do you know these are the same people that use Netflix are the same people that got upset because people trolled Amy Schumer's reviews, or didn't even troll, but just gave her an honest review. I don't know. But
I don't think it was trolled. I think it was an honest review.
But these are the same.
That's why they took the stars away and they added
the thumbs up, thumbs down.
Right.
But these are the same people that
see. Here's my question:
the same people are getting enraged over the comments on that are the same people you're trying to sell Blazing Saddles to? I mean, that's a very hard sell. Like, as far as I can tell.
No, I just think Amy Schumer's, it was just wrong. It was bad.
Yeah,
because I'm a fan of Amy Schumer. Or I was. When she first came out, I thought she was hilarious. I'm like, here's this female actress. She's very funny. She's naturally very funny.
Yeah, she's not scripted. Funny.
And then I watched Trainwrecked, and
it ruined it for you.
It crashed a train right into
your soul.
Right. No, I was just I literally by the end of the movie, I'm like, okay, there's 2 hours of my life that's wasted. And it was like, that was fun. I said, no.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And then her comedy, ever since she's been getting movie roles.
Oh, it's not.
It's gotten worse.
Well, it's not because of movie roles, and it's not because of endorsements. It's because she's gotten political.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I am all for someone stepping back from their craft or their trade or whatever job they have, and as a citizen of the United States, talking about politics. That's what the country was built on, is people able to do that. Right. But when you get political in your stand-up, you're hosed.
Well, and it's
because who if you go to a stand-up show, right? And you are if you hear anything about politics at a stand-up show, it's usually just going to be satire. Right. It's going to be honest observations, and she doesn't just give honest observations and make them a joke. She's just like, this guy's really bad. Like, he's like, I'm just going to take a moment here. This person's bad.
Well, and it wasn't that. So here's my problem. So
Okay.
I watched the clip that was controversial.
Which one was that?
It was the one where she's talking about how, well, actually, let me give you a little bit of backstory. So this whole thing was sparked because there was a shooting in a movie theater, and the particular theater that this shooting took place in was
Yeah.
playing her movie Trainwrecked.
Oh,
So she felt some form of
responsibility for
responsibility to go and say something about it.
it. Mm-hmm.
And I think she was wrong to
What?
do it in her special.
Oh yeah.
To do it in her special, she was wrong. And it was the thing she said that just irritated the crap out of me.
Well, like was
I
there
can't remember. It was a long time ago
What
that
was
she.
what was the general just like?
Let me see if I can look up
Okay.
a portion of it and
Because-
see if we can.
My issue with Amy Schumer is if you're gonna talk politics in any kind of comedic sense, it needs to be genuinely funny. Like, did you at all catch a glimpse of the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
No.
Oh my gosh! So the guy that they got to do it, like the headliner, like
Right.
keep in mind, headliners to this little event have been Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers,
Seth MacFarlane, I think, did it one year.
probably did. Norm Macdonald, right? People who are genuinely funny individuals, if not somewhat political at the same time, but genuinely funny when they talk. They got this guy, I cannot remember for the life of me what his name was, but he got on and it flopped. Like it legitimately flopped, and it wasn't. And someone was commenting. A few people were commenting on it. I have to agree with them. Going like saying stuff like, I mean, this could have been a hilarious bit. This could have been funny. This could have been awesome. But you have this stand-up comedian saying literally the exact same thing as MSNBC did the morning before.
Right.
And for the past, 3 months has been saying every day. So like, it stopped being funny because everyone's saying it.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
So I've got a transcript of the joke that was controversial.
Okay.
And she said, I'm blacking out tonight from drinking bottles of wine. Has anyone ever blacked out and been awake when they came out of it? It's kind of cool because it's like you're a time traveler and you're going back in time and you're going back and you're like back in your body. This is really weird. And you're like, what are people wearing now? And you, it sounds like she was drinking a bottle of wine. And you just
Yeah.
keep moving. One time in college, I came out of a blackout and there was a stranger going down on me. So I was like, okay, I decided to tap him gently so I do not startle him. And she taps the mic. Sir, because I'm laying here. Sir, yeah, because I'm laying there. And I'm like, what do I know about this guy?
Mm-hmm. Was that the right one?
That's what it says. That's what
I mean, that might be another controversial one that she's done, but
right.
I mean, she has had quite a few of her.
But that's talking about the Netflix special that.
Oh, I don't know them because I did not.
Oh, and then
watch
she
it.
starts talking about rape.
Yeah, great. I mean, so basically, how do we even? Oh yeah, because controversial
Right.
stuff. No, basically,
Yeah. So this is
both of us.
Amy
are kinda
Schumer's
the same-
special was hilarious until this one joke.
Both of us are kind of the same boat.
Yeah.
The stuff she talks about in her special should be funny, but when you take a break to stop being funny to talk about serious issues,
It's not funny.
it's not funny, and people don't want to
Now,
watch your stand-up.
I disagree a little
Why?
bit. Gabriel Iglesias, when I went and saw him live,
No, see, no. Here's the difference between Gabriel Iglesias and even guys like Steve Harvey. And this is not a racial thing, but most black comedians do this too. a lot of black comedians do it, where they take a minute to, talk about, the blessings they've had, all the success they've had, stuff like that. Genuinely sweet stuff, and that's fine. Like,
Right.
Like things like that, yeah. Like they're not serious. They're serious, but they're not serious talking points. If you're trying to sit down and trying to figure out why people rape in the middle of a comedy special, it's not going to be a good comedy special. If you sit down and say, I am so thankful for my wife, my kids, all the good things that have happened to me,
Right.
There's a difference between those two things.
Right.
And the second one, yes, I'm all for, whatever you want to say that's meaningful and deep and appreciative. Go ahead and do it because it's your special. But don't. And people will like to hear that. People want to hear the good things that have happened to you. But if you want to have a serious, educational discussion, do it in a serious educational forum. Don't do it during a special that people paid to come watch you do.
Right. Well, and that wasn't even that. That was, yeah, they paid, but then there are also people who are supposed to be buying the CD, and I don't even know if she sold any.
I don't know.
I know it went on Netflix, and people... And now here's my problem with Netflix. They took the stars away. What is that going to do? You still have a way to... I mean, everybody's just going to now... It's going to be worse.
Yeah.
Because
there's no
before
scale.
she'd get 1 stars, 2 stars, 5 stars. No, now it's either thumbs up and thumbs down. So she's still going to get all thumbs down.
That's the thing. Now you're taking away. Oh well, the thing is they don't show how many thumbs up and thumbs down they got.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. So that's.
But they're still there.
But they're still there. Right. So that's the issue. Is like, oh, you didn't fix anything. You just gave it absolutes now.
Well, and it's kind of like
maybe it's somewhat funny.
I actually looked at the stars.
No, I don't like it.
I looked at the stars.
Yeah.
Did people like this or did they not?
Yeah.
And there were some 1 stars that I'd looked at, and I'm like, yeah, I can
understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then there were other times that I would watch 1 star and I'd be like, no, this was a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I would give it a 5 star to boost its overall rating.
And that's again, movies are subjective. So it's, but when as far as quantifying it all and reporting back to people who might be interested in the movie or in the special, whatever it is, changing it from a 1 to 5 star rating to a yes or no rating doesn't help, because if you're sitting on a 2, you're gonna hit no. If you're sitting on a 3, it's 50-50 whether you're gonna hit yes or no.
Right.
If you're sitting on 1, you're saying no. If you're sitting at a 4 or 5, you're probably saying yes. It didn't save anything.
Well, no. Well, it's funny because I just looked up another article, and apparently she talked about her getting raped in one special, but in the same special she took on people like that gun thing.
Yeah. So
that was the same special.
Oh, okay.
And that's probably why it was so...
Because it sounded more like the vagina monologues than a stand-up comedy?
Right.
Yeah. Which ladies, I have no issue. Let's make this clear, Aaron, so no one gets mad at us. Neither of us have an issue with you guys talking about serious problems that you face. Right. No, you will never hear me or him say, shut up, I don't want to talk about that. We're talking about a stand-up comedian performing stand-up and stopping performing stand-up to talk about rape and guns.
I was going to say, to talk about really serious things you don't want on a special twice
in one special.
Yes. No. And it's funny because she starts off this thing, because I found the quote that I was looking for, and it says, she starts off, I knew nothing about gun violence, and I found out that the guy who had shot them was severely mentally ill and a domestic abuser.
Yep.
That's weird. It's telling me to rotate my screen.
That is weird.
Aaron
is very fussy right now.
I am, because I lost it. It literally, like, there was a pop-up and I backed out of it and now it's gone. No, but she even says that she didn't know much about gun violence, and then once this happened, she took it on. You know what? If you don't know about something,
don't talk about it.
please don't talk about it. Because there were a lot of points that she made that just irritated me. And it may or may not have been what she said. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Or how she said it. Or just the fact that she didn't know anything about guns when she blatantly said that, and she's talking about it.
Yeah.
Just because you read a whole bunch of stuff or you have an experience about somebody going to... Now, I'm not saying that she shouldn't feel... Well, I don't think she should feel responsible that, this guy who apparently was mentally ill went and shot up some people who were going to see her movie. That wasn't her fault. It could have been Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever movie was coming out at that point.
Yeah.
But it's how you react to it. And I feel like how she reacted to it was...
Where she took it as a personal thing.
Right.
As opposed to, I'm sorry for all those.
Right. Like, she could have gone out and said, oh, I'm so sorry for the families.
Yeah.
Donated some money.
Mm-hmm.
Went to their doorsteps.
Yeah. Done something personal.
But not, say, well, I knew nothing about guns, but this happened and it hit, it touched me deeply. So I did some research and here's what I think. No. Honey, no.
Honey, no.
Just don't.
Don't
because
be doing that stuff.
That is what will crash a comedian.
Well, it's not
Very
that's
quickly.
not even what will crash a comedian. That's what crashes open dialogue to begin with.
Right.
Like if you talk about something you have no clue about. Like we had this earlier actually at the station at 96.3 this morning. Me and the two other interns got into a heavier not debate, but a heavier talk about a certain issue, right?
Right.
I won't go into it on air. But it was definitely not the time or place to have this discussion, especially because I'm kind of the middleman in between the two. The guy that was with me didn't really understand what me and the chick were saying, and the chick didn't understand really what me and the guy were saying.
Right.
So I'm the middleman. I'm flexing between these two, trying to have a decent conversation, and just anger and not anger. I won't say she was angry. Frustration and just being the other guy just being a tombstone. Just like, what?
Right.
What? Why is that bad? What's wrong with that? I don't.
Right.
It's like, dude, if you don't know, shut up.
Don't talk about it.
Right. And same for anybody else.
Well, and
either side of the party of which you fall on. If you don't know something, don't go spouting off about it, because guess what? You end up screwing stuff up.
Well, yeah, I was going to say you can cause something like this that was so publicly watched could spark something way bigger than what you realize.
Of course.
I mean, you've got she took on the battle of rape, which is a touchy subject and a horrible thing. And then she goes on to about guns, and the I don't want to say war against guns, because it's not really a war.
No.
It's an argument.
Yeah.
The argument against gun rights is so touchy as it is. Somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about,
you don't need an airhead.
Sticking their nose in and saying something is going to fire one of the sides up and cause something to happen, when they just need to stay out of it, leave it alone, do what she can to console the families who were, or the people who were in this event.
Yeah.
And not bring it up. I'm just irritated at how it was handled. I feel like it was handled very poorly.
Yeah.
I feel like it was not really, it wasn't really significant for her to do this. And and then the worst part about it is she got really mad when nobody liked it.
Yeah.
Which causes Netflix to change something that a lot of people actually enjoyed. Which is the star system, which I just think is dumb.
Yeah.
So I spoke my piece on that.
So let's
we should
kind of
veer back to
exactly.
I think that there would be a good Spaceballs.
Oh yeah.
I think Spaceballs 2 would be fantastic.
So, in the sense of lightening things up, do you want to go with you want to talk about James Cameron, or do you want to talk about the other Star Saga?
Oh right, because we were supposed to do that first.
Yeah.
Why don't we do the other Star Saga,
All
and
right.
then we will go back to James Cameron.
If we got some time.
I want to hit it because I'm.
Well, let's hit it then. Let's
okay, we'll hit it now.
Let's go,
and then we'll
James
go back.
Cameron.
So somebody's suing James Cameron.
I don't know why. I mean, it's dumb. I mean, I know why, but it's dumb too.
I think it's hilarious. So there's a man named Stephen Cummings, which I'll get to his last name in a minute. But and he is suing James Cameron, claiming that he is the real Jack Dawson. For those of you that don't know, Jack Dawson was Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Titanic.
Wait, this guy, Stephen Cummings, is claiming that he is Leonardo DiCaprio's
Character. Yes.
Why?
Okay. Now, to get into it a little bit more. Okay, so how long has the movie been out?
Years. It was made back in the 90s.
Okay. And he is just now coming forward. Okay.
Like this is the first time he's seen it.
Now here's his claim. His claim is that because he claims that he was a legend in the Florida area.
Mm.
Let me see if I can find. I thought I pulled up a quote. It said that he is claiming that Leonardo DiCaprio's Titanic co-star Kate Winslet, who played a rebellious Rose DeWitt. What is her last name? Baker. Anyway, in the film, were based on stories he had told his closest friends and about two of his relatives who were on the historic sinking ship in 1912. As many might guess, Cummings claims that his relatives were husband and wife, of whom only the wife survived the tragic event, as similarly depicted in Cameron's films.
Yeah.
So
is he saying that he is Jack Dawson, or is he saying that he is related to the real Jack Dawson?
He's saying that his history.
Yes.
So part of his history was used for Jack Dawson's character. It says
so it's his ancestors, not him himself.
Well, no. It said that Cameron took part of his history and used it in the movie. Claiming that Cameron knew that he was a Floridian yacht industry worker who was apparently a bit of a local legend in a county between 1988 and 1989, and adapted some of his personal history for Jack Dawson. So he's saying that he was a little bit of a quote unquote local legend between 1988 and 1989.
Yeah.
And Cameron knew that and took part of his history from this so-called legend ship.
Yeah.
And used it as the backstory for the character in his movie.
That's dumb.
Okay.
I mean,
but then he is also claiming that the a part of the story with Rose and why can I think of his name? Leonardo DiCaprio's character Jack was based off of a story that he told some friends and relatives, or some friends about his relatives. So he's saying that Cameron ripped off him and his relatives who were on the ship. And he is just now coming out in let's see, 2017. He is coming out when the movie has been out for
over 20 years.
For over 20 years.
Easily
widely publicized,
critically acclaimed, loved by millions. This I cannot form a coherent sentence because this is so dumb. Like this is like jackass levels of stupid.
He is suing for a lot amount of money.
Oh yeah.
He is suing for $300 million. And on top of that, 1% of the movie's royalties.
Which is not, honestly, I wouldn't sue for the royalties because this isn't really shown.
It is on TV.
No, it's not. I never see it.
It's got like stars and some of those.
Oh, okay. But if
Netflix puts it on.
Oh yeah, true.
So if anything big were to happen with the Titanic, from now until I think
This
pretty
guy
much the end,
dies.
well, even after that,
But yeah, well, depends on
because
how
his royalties would probably end up going to part of his family.
depends on how this contract is set up. But no, this is.
It's dumb.
I'm sorry, but you can say, well, that was me about a lot of stuff. Like, just because it sounds like you does not mean it is you. And this guy going, oh, well, it's gotta be me. No.
My thing is, okay, if he thought that this was him, why did he not come forward 20 years ago?
This man is not young.
No.
He's not young at all.
No.
So it looks like the picture that gave of him in his face, he looks like he may have been late 30s, maybe early 40s when the movie even came out, right? Or back in the 80s, right? So almost 30 years ago, he could have been in his 30s.
Right.
You have so much time. So almost 30 years ago, back when you were the height of your legendariness, why didn't you say anything? Because you're a liar. That's the biggest reason.
Where'd you see a picture of this dude?
It's on TMZ.
Oh, okay. I didn't even look on TMZ. No, but the thing that gets me is why now? What has possessed this man to come now and say something?
I really don't know, dude. There's so many stupid people trying to just get money off of dumb stuff. So I'm not surprised someone did this, but it does not change the stupidity of the situation.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. No, it's
bad. It's bad because it's getting attention, but B, this guy legitimately thinks that he's.
Well, the only reason it's getting attention is because it's TMZ.
Oh, well, it's
TMZ gave that dumb video.
Which one? I mean,
the dumb. Sorry, I'm still trying to find the picture. The dumb video of this German Shepherd being supposedly drowned in the movie A Dog's Purpose.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That picked up a lot of wind, and I still to this day hate TMZ for that.
Because it misrepresented what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah,
well, let's move on from stupidity to a little bit of wonderment then.
I just had to put this in there because I thought it was that dumb.
Oh, the James Cameron stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, it's when you come across something like that, you can't
ignore
not. It. You can't ignore it.
Well, and because I originally I came across the story of the Dog's Purpose thing before it picked up so much wind. And I'm like, nah. I just kind of blew it by the wayside.
Yeah.
And then I went to, because this is back when I was interning at WDVD, I went there and they were blowing up about it. And I looked up the video, and the video I watched, I'm like, this can't be the video. There's not a dog drowning in this video.
Yeah. And
I keep looking, and that was the video.
Oh yeah, it's all clickbaity stuff. But let's get on to what I think is going to be the creme de la creme of
creme de la creme
of this Movie Madness Monday.
Oh. Okay, let's give it a shot.
We're gonna try. I mean, what can they say? You're not funny.
They could call us idiots.
I could call it daily. But we are going to try to fix a certain.
Hang on.
Oh, okay.
I want to. If we're gonna make this special,
we gotta make it special.
We gotta go all out.
We gotta go all out.
So,
day in and day out. So, I want you to sit there, if you're listening, sit there for a little bit. Try and guess what movie series we are going to try to fix today. What really special interstellar movie series we're going to try to fix today. those of you that don't understand, it's not Star Trek, it's Star Wars. So, as many people have talked about over the years, the second trilogy, which includes episodes 1, 2, and 3, which is Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
So, those three, a lot of people had problems with. Because the first three were like, oh wow, this is a pretty interesting.
This is a freaking fantastic.
It's a huge fantasy thriller. It's awesome. And then 1, 2, and 3 came out. Like, people were like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna include this into the story house? And it's like whiny crybaby melodrama leading up to Darth Vader. And so me and Aaron are gonna try to, as quickly as we possibly can.
Well, we got some time, so not quickly.
That's what. But we're covering 3 films here. So
right. Wait, we're doing all 3.
Well.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
If we fix 1, 2 and 3 will sort themselves out. Okay. So let's start with 1. Biggest. What is your biggest issue?
So we're talking about Star Wars
Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So, as far from me, there's a few things about the Phantom Menace I think they should have changed. Jar Jar Binks being one of them, because if you've said it before on Topic Talks, if you look back at this series, what they did in 1 basically tells you the whole entire success of events hinges on Jar Jar Binks being almost killed by a droid mover. It is the entirety, because if Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan don't meet Jar Jar Binks in the swamp, they don't go to the underwater Gungan city. They don't end up going to Naboo and rescuing the princess and flying out of there and then finding Anakin Skywalker. It is just so. Take that whole thing, and just if you want to keep Jar Jar and you want to sell Jar Jar action figures, go ahead, but do not make him a integral piece of. I don't know.
I thought he was funny.
He had his moments. For kids, he had his moments, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't be in it.
I feel like
but he was overused. Like he tried to be a comedic foil, and some of the stuff was
but I think it would be funny if you leave that portion the way it is, and then he ends up being the Sith Lord. How funny would that be?
That would be hilarious, but they're never going to go for
they should do that so bad.
That'd be great.
They should. So many Star Wars fans would
be so happy.
They would probably poop themselves. Because I think we are one of the only people that had this thought.
No, we're not the only ones. I've seen this before.
Have you?
Oh yeah, plenty of people that.
There would be some people that would be so happy. There are other people that would literally poop themselves as they're watching.
Like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. But no, so my theory, if we don't do the Jar Jar is the evil Sith Lord of all, you can keep Jar Jar. Just give him a more secondary role. Don't have him talk so much. Then
why you don't like the Jar Jar?
Missing don't like a Jar Jar. So
that was way too good for you not to like Jar Jar.
I know. Put Jar Jar in more of a secondary role. Then a little bit later, so there's not too much I have a problem with as far as the whole the whole conflict, right?
Right.
There's bad guys suppressing the good guys. The good guys need to fight back. Right. My next big point. Don't make Anakin Jesus. Anakin is Jesus in the film series. When they land on Naboo to save to get a hyperspace drive, right?
Right.
And Qui-Gon is talking to Anakin's mom, Shmi. I'm not kidding you. That is her name. She's named Shmi.
Like the pirate from
Neverland.
Peter Pan?
Yeah. Oh, Captain Hook. Shmi. So
that was really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She talks to Qui-Gon and says, who's his father? Oh, there was no father. I just had him. And she just like talks like this is like just an average conversation. And Qui-Gon's reaction, I love Liam Neeson, right? I love him.
I was gonna say one thing we cannot change is Liam Neeson.
No, Liam Neeson stays. But give Liam Neeson some freaking direction to go. I don't care how wisely of a Jedi you are, or how many things you've heard in your travels and in your meditation and your study. If somebody tells you, I'm like
they just have a kid.
Even in the Bible, when you have, what's his name, Joseph, hearing about Mary is having God's baby, the idea is, okay, I'm just going to kind of leave her somewhere and pretend that we got married and got divorced and it's okay, it's whatever. Which I would think it'd be more funny if you had Joseph going, no! Why? Come on! Right? I think that's what I'm guessing that's what actually happened. They just kind of like curved that part out a little bit.
Right.
But regardless, if that conversation happens, give Liam Neeson some reaction to it.
Yeah.
Don't just have him sitting there going, "Oh yeah, makes sense."
Food for thought.
Most understandable thing I've heard all day. I'm sitting on a freaking desert planet arguing with a flying rat, and Watto.
Okay.
Not even a rat, like a flying. It looks like he's Watto. You know what Watto is?
What?
He's Gonzo from the Muppets with wings.
I'm pretty sure, didn't Gonzo have wings at one point?
No, I don't think so.
I thought they gave him wings at one point.
Who knows?
Because I thought he was wearing like a flight helmet.
He got shot out of a cannon.
Oh, that's what it was. Wait, might as well have had wings.
Might as well have wings. But if all this other stuff makes perfect sense to you, flying through to different planets, going to different places, seeing weird and new creatures. Okay, we've established that's normal. That happens. Great. But nowhere in this universe has anyone else ever had a child without another human being. So do not make Anakin Jesus. All right? Remove that part from it. Have his dad be a deadbeat. Have him be like a drunk slob, and his dad is the reason that his mom and him are in slavery to Watto. Have him be the reason that all this crappy stuff happens to this family.
Right.
And I guarantee you people will be so much happier watching this. So have all that happen. 3, get a different child actor for Anakin. Because he just kind of sits there going, like, whenever something like he doesn't like him, he's like, no. And so like, and like even like when he's in the scene after he's won the pod race and they're back on Coruscant and everything is going gold, and Qui-Gon's like, I must have him trained. And they're like, okay, well, we'll give him a test. And he's just like, a ship, a cup, a ship, a spear. All doing all this stuff, and then Yoda's like, you kind of freaked out there, aren't you? Kind of scared about your mom. And he's like, what does that have to do with anything? Where's my mom come into this, huh? He sounds like Eric Cartman.
I was just about to say that.
Nah, screw you guys. It's my mom. And
Natalie Portman stays too.
Yes,
she was really good.
Of course. But please remove Keira Knightley from the script too, because Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman give me the biggest headache trying to figure out which one is which.
Wait, which one was that one?
Keira Knightley.
I better click on full cast in order to get that one.
Well, you know who Keira Knightley is, right? She's an actress.
Yeah, I need a picture.
But she compared next to what's her name? Natalie Portman. They are almost identical, and that's why they brought them in the Star Wars movie, is because they were so identical. That's why they had her be your body double.
I can see it.
That's why they had her be your body double. So that's fine, but please remove. I understand you're supposed to have someone be your body double, but can we get someone that's less like you? Like, just for the audience's, like, for my mind's sake. Like, no, wait a minute. She's the same person. What the heck? Is this CG? No, it's just a different person. All right. So
who could we put in her place?
any generic actress, just like generic actress number 3. Here you work on the casting parts that I'm trying to recreate, and I'll keep going on my tangents. So after all this happens and they get back to Naboo. Right?
Ooh,
Who?
I thought of one that kind of looked.
Who?
I can't think of her name.
Look it up and come back to me.
I'm
on a roll. I can't stop now. All right. So
well, I know. Once you start rolling down, hey, you just can't keep.
You gotta keep going.
Mila Kunis.
Okay, maybe.
Because they played in the Black Swan together, and that was a good movie.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
All right, so you have all that, and then you have Padme, addressing the Senate, and she says, "All right, let's have a vote," and have what's his name, Palpatine, still become Chancellor. I'm okay with that. That's a shifty, underhanded move to get in control. I like it. Let's keep it going. All right. So you get to the Battle of Naboo. All right. You get to the main meat of this shtick. Right.
Right.
Go through the whole battle. Have everyone fight everyone. Have the Gungans fighting the droids out in the field somewhere. Have Padme and all her people fighting in the city. Killing the droids there and winning and all that stuff. But when you get to the Jedi fight, you get to the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul, have it be a draw. I'm serious. Have it be a draw. Have it be the point where Darth Maul is about to lose and about to have his butt kicked, right? About to get sheared, right? But have him jump onto a speeder and...
Why?
Because he is so much more entertaining than Count Dooku. Now, Christopher Lee, great actor. I loved him. God rest his soul. He's dead. But the fights that happen in number 2, the Jedi fights, were nothing like number 1 or number 3, where you have Anakin versus Obi-Wan, right?
Right.
Because in number 1, the guy who plays Darth Maul, he's a martial artist.
Right.
So when he's doing all these movements, these are legitimate martial arts moves. That's why it looks so real. When you have Christopher Lee, who was 80 some odd years old filming these movies, going, it's like,
it was kind of boring.
It's like the best part in number 2 when it came to the lightsaber fights is when you had CGI Yoda jumping across from ship to rock to ship to floor to all this stuff, doing flippy stuff.
Now my favorite if you go into the video games, my favorite 2 characters to play was either Darth Maul, or Yoda.
Exactly. Everyone loved those 2. So keep Darth Maul for at least until midway through number 2. All right. So we'll finish up number 1, and then we'll go to number 2. Okay.
Right.
All right. So Darth Maul gets on a speeder, runs away. Because he's a Sith, he's a coward, he's tough, he's mean, but he's a wuss at the same time.
Right.
So get him out of there, and have Qui-Gon Obi-Wan be like, what will we do? Nothing. So Qui-Gon's alive. Obi-Wan, gets his own, can now be his own man, right?
Right.
And all this convincing that he's done before with the Jedi Council. Obi-Wan is now a knight, right? He's not a Padawan anymore. He's a knight. He can train people.
Right.
Right? And the council's like, "Oh, Qui-Gon, so you're alive still, right? Yeah, cool. So Anakin is not."
That was played by Ian McGregor, right?
Ewan McGregor, yep. Instead of having Anakin be trained by you, Qui-Gon, we think that he should be trained by Obi-Wan instead, because we think that you're too attached to this kid.
Right.
Like, far too attached. Which makes sense. All right? Think about it. Makes sense. He is way too attached. So you go through all the very ending stuff where they're...
No, wait. Qui-Gon was played by Liam Neeson.
Yeah. I said Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
That's Ewan McGregor.
Right.
So you go through the final end part where they're like, holding up all like the peace stuff, and Qui-Gon's just kind of sitting there going, "This should be my training, Anakin. I don't want to find him in the freaking desert. I want to be a master student." Right. So, jump cut to the next movie. Are you still with me here, or are you fading?
No, I'm here because you said that you think that Obi-Wan should have been the one to train
Anakin.
Anakin.
All right.
And you have Liam Neeson's character pouting in a corner.
Yes. Okay.
I've never seen Liam Neeson do a lot of pouting.
Exactly. We need to give Liam Neeson some more emotes. All right. So number 2 starts off somewhat similar. No, I'm not doing that. It's not gonna start off similar to number 2 how it started, where it's just random bounty hunter shot bang, and then elevator music with Obi-Wan and Anakin. No, have it be Obi-Wan and Anakin out on a dangerous mission somewhere, doing something dangerous because they're freaking Jedi, which we never see anyone do in this movie, aside from attacking battle droids, do anything dangerous. We don't. If you think about it, there's nothing. So have them doing something in the middle of some weird jungly planet.
Is it me where the battle droid's really not that scary?
The super battle droids were scary. The regular ones were not scary.
Right.
The big hulking gray ones.
Yeah.
And the ones with the force fields, which I thought were awesome as a kid, by the way.
Yeah, they were.
They were awesome.
Yeah, they were.
And
really hard to kill in Battlefront 2.
Exactly. That's why you always played as them when you were the droids. All right, so the other thing for one.
Right.
They win against the droid army on Naboo, but they don't destroy the separatist ship.
Right.
It flies back home. It goes away. It's what's happened? Darth Maul flies up there as the battleship flies away, right? The Naboo people are like, "We won! They quit, we won!" And they're flying away. And then you see this tiny little one-man shuttle flying right after the separatist massive battleship, okay?
Right.
You have that. So you're like, okay, Maul's going back.
Right.
He's going back home. All right. So you have the setup in number 2. Again, Obi-Wan, Anakin doing a dangerous mission, having a good time. Anakin's still snarky. But yeah. So remember how in the number 2 and 3 he was angsty? He seemed like a 16-year-old in both movies.
Right.
No. Have him be a little angsty in number 2, but have him be really freaking sarcastic. That's the one. that's the one mark I had against. Sorry, one of the many marks apparently I had against the 1, 2, and 3. Everyone seemed very proper. No one seemed to talk out of turn. If you look at like Luke, Han, and Leia, they're like, now screw you, man. You want to leave us on Hoth? No, get out of here. No, screw you, Batman. So you have instead you have Qui-Gon. So they're doing this thing. They're cutting things down, whatever, and they're getting attacked. And then famous Star Wars wipe to Qui-Gon going up the elevator to see Padme, right? And he's talking. He does his like, "Oh yes, Anakin's fine. Thank you for asking. I still wish I was training him." Blah blah blah. So he gets grumpy, right? We see Qui-Gon's kind of gotten grumpier. He's not as happy as he used to be, or as much as you could call that happy in the first one.
Right.
So she's like, "Okay, great to see you too, Master Qui-Gon." Jar Jar Binks is there going, "Qui-Gon, so happy to see you!" And then he's like, "Jar Jar, if you say one more thing to me, I will cut you in 2." Which I wouldn't be too upset about that.
Me
Especially since you never see Jar Jar again except for 3 scenes in the next 2 movies. The entrance scene, then Jar Jar voting to give power to the Chancellor, and then him when Padme dies and they're doing a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time you see him in 2 and 3.
Right.
So, you go from there, kind of kind of keep it how it was during the original number 2. Where now instead of Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting the bounty hunter and stuff, it's Qui-Gon hunting down the bounty hunter, and then same thing, bounty hunter gets shot by Jango flies away, blah 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 blah. This kind of helps it so Anakin and Obi-Wan can kind of do their thing. Anakin and Obi-Wan come back, they're like, hey, what's going on? And then Yoda's like, we received a distress signal from Tatooine and blah, 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 close to where Anakin was raised. So Obi-Wan's like, Anakin, don't go. Don't go, Anakin. It's going to be a bad idea.
Don't go.
Don't go. Don't go. And Anakin's like, I'm going to go. And so he goes. And he does the same thing, fighting the Tusken Raiders in the sand, killing people. And you see him really, but without Padme there, right? So she's not there,
Right.
She's back in Naboo now, where she's safe,
Right.
without Anakin. So you don't get to see her try to comfort him. You just kind of get to see him twist,
Right.
and like emotionally go into turmoil because there's no one there to help him out.
Right.
Meanwhile, sorry. I'm itching my ear.
Your ear itches.
My ear itches. Meanwhile, they send Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon together again to go to the Camino where they have the clones being made, right?
Right.
Because if you are at all a Star Wars nerd, you'll know that the guy who they mentioned, Sifo Dyas, is actually Count Dooku's old master, right? And then Count Dooku is Qui-Gon's old master,
Right.
as was indicated in dialogue. Now, so you have so instead of having like a fourth, so instead of having 4 degrees of separation between someone, you have like 2, right? So they all go through that, the same thing. They meet Jango, and Obi-Wan's like, I have a bad feeling about this man. And so Obi-Wan's like, dude, you're just old. And so have that going on, and then kind of same thing. They fight Jango, and but Boba's more involved this time. Like he's like shooting fire from somewhere else. Like just boom, 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 boom.
Because Jango Fett was the dad and Boba Fett was the son.
Yep. So then they both go, and then again, Obi-Wan throws a tracker. Slave One, the spaceship, flies out to go to Geonosis. Okay.
Right.
So again, we wipe, but this time we don't wipe to any of our main characters so far. We wipe to Geonosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there you see Palpatine with Darth Maul talking about his plans for the droid army and the Separatists. Also, like, listen, my apprentice. I have a new mission for you. Something dark side. Right? So
We're going a little bit Family Guy there?
oh yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, I have a new mission for you. And he sends him or no, sorry, they're not. I'm gonna retract. They're not in Geonosis. They're on Coruscant, like they had with Count Dooku in the original at the very end.
Right.
So he's talking about. So he sends Maul to Coruscant, or to Geonosis, to talk to the Separatists about whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And when he gets there, he's talking, and all of a sudden he hears, and then you see a lightsaber come through him, like they did in number 1. Like where they slash him in half.
Right.
Have it be Count Dooku.
Okay.
Right? I know it sounds weird because it sounds like we're going to have another Count Dooku fight.
Right.
Because we are. But we're not going to have it be as boring as... Actually, no, I'm going to retract that statement. I'm going to retract that statement and have Count Dooku pretend to be like he's he's just another simple helper and a former Jedi, and he's all cool with Darth Maul being there. Okay?
Right.
So he's all cool with that. they send Obi-Wan now by himself, like again in the first one, to Geonosis.
Hold on.
Huh.
The guy who played the voice of Yoda,
Yeah.
also played
Miss Piggy.
and Fozzie Bear,
Yep.
and Animal,
Yep.
in Muppets from Space.
Did you not? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
In the very first, in episode 1 before they remastered it,
Mm-hmm.
Yoda was a puppet, and he was doing the voice of the puppet while he was doing Yoda's movements.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Gotta catch up on your history there, buddy.
Yeah, because I didn't know he was Fozzie Bear or Miss Piggy.
Yep.
And he was Animal too.
Mm-hmm. Did a lot.
And Grump.
Yep, they did a lot of. Jim Henson and him did a lot of voices for the Muppets. So.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
That's pretty much all he did is
With the
Star
Muppets.
Wars and
Muppets. So, okay. So, now we have Anakin coming back from his whole little Tatooine excursion, right? Why don't we have more Anakin? Because guess what? Anakin's not fun. Anakin's not enjoyable to watch. Anakin's just angsty and mean and sarcastic.
And going to become
Darth Vader, right? So,
then he gets exciting.
yeah. Then it gets exciting then. So, then we have, oh, hey, by the way, Obi-Wan is trapped on Geonosis. And so Anakin's the first to fly out and try to help his master, right? So you have all this happening, and then it's the same thing. Obi-Wan, Anakin get caught. They're in the giant battleground thing, and they gotta start off the exact same way, fighting these giant monsters until help arrives, right?
Right.
So same thing, battle sequence, space things come into play. All the Jedi pop out of nowhere and like, haha, we're here. And so they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting, and
Damn, he was a puppet.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just looking at pictures, and there's a picture of him with somebody up his
butt,
his skirt.
So you have all these guys fighting, and then at some point in time, instead of Mace Windu being the guy that kills Boba Fett, it's going to be Boba Fett versus Qui-Gon Jinn. All right.
Why not Mace Windu? I like Mace Windu.
I like him too, but it's Samuel L. Jackson. He was there for the money. He wasn't exactly there to act. All right. So Qui-Gon versus Jango Fett. Jango actually lands a shot on Qui-Gon, crippling him, and he's about to die until Obi-Wan comes over and slices. Or no, we'll bring back Mace Windu. Mace Windu comes over and slices Jango's head off.
Right.
Before he gets a chance to finally kill Qui-Gon. So Qui-Gon's getting his stealth stitched up. They're flying around, and eventually, they're like, Anakin, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan are all on the same thing. They're like, no, follow Count Dooku and Darth Maul because he's with Count Dooku now, for some reason, right? They're like, why are these two people together? These are bad people. Right? They're working together and they're bad people. And
right.
They have force abilities, so they're bad. So they follow them, again, to the cave. They're about to have the epic fight scene, right? And they start, right? Qui-Gon's already hurt, so he's not being too effective. Anakin and Obi-Wan do most of the fighting. Eventually, Maul does some flippy-dippy stuff and then spears Qui-Gon in the chest like he did in number 1.
Right.
So we keep Qui-Gon around for just long enough to where he's a somewhat emotionally invested character.
And then you kill him off.
And then we kill him off. Because that's how cinematography works. So, you can't have this fight. Yeah, I'm almost done. So I'm not going to be able to get to 3 today, unfortunately. But my ranting will end with 2. So, you get all this fighting going on between now it's 2-on-2. And they're fighting, and it looks like the Sith are about to beat the Jedi. Count Dooku again cuts Anakin's arm off, so he starts becoming a robot. And then, just when it looks like Darth Maul is about to just slice and dice the crap out of the two Jedi, what happens? Count Dooku comes and just cleaves him in two. Not waist-wise, I'm talking head to butt. Just...
Oh, kind of like what that swordfoot chick did in The Kingsman.
Yes. Just straight down the middle, between the eyes, right? He's dead. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, why? Because Condu's like, I am the Sith. Oh. So, he gets in the thing again. ESPN.
Sports.
Sports.
It's in the
Center.
game.
That's EA Games.
My bad.
So Count Dooku flies off again, and Yoda shows up at the last second going, oh, darn, did you guys need my help? Sorry. Because Count Dooku's saving to fight for another day.
Right.
So they get back to the planet Coruscant, and Anakin's getting himself stitched up, and Padme walks in going, are you okay? What happened? I've been gone this entire time on Naboo. I don't have very much character development. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, early 2000s hair swished to the side. He's like, okay. And
you
then
want to make it a 90s 2000 film, don't you?
I want to make it a good film. I don't want to make it
crappy.
I don't make it crap. I just want to make it better. As better in my opinion as I can. So she's like, okay, and then you kind of notice, okay, they're getting a little close. What's going on here? What's happening here? Is this something going on? And then you see on Padme's finger, she has a ring on her ring finger, on her wedding finger.
Right.
And you're like, oh my gosh, when did she get married? And then we find out it's because they've been married since like before 2 started. And like it's been a whole, like, instead of being a secret from like the end of 2 all the way through 3 where he kills her basically.
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, they hid it from everybody. I just got whiplash from doing that. Then everyone's like, oh, and then they have the funeral for Qui-Gon, and then they're kind of like dangling Darth Maul's entrails over like a giant fish that like eats things because they're jerks that way. And yeah, that's basically how it ends. It's like, oh, I can't believe it. Now we have and then the clone army comes. Like, okay, now we have a clone war because we've been using, droids and clones already. So now we're good to go. And then it just at some point in time it closes to the credits. I don't know who it's going to close on. I haven't figured that part out yet. I'm still figuring it out. So that's, for what it's worth, my opinion of how the first 2, like episode 1 and 2 of Star Wars should have been, or how if they ever were to redo it,
that's how they should do it.
How they should do it. Have certain people be less invested, have Qui-Gon be an actual main character, for more than one film, and take out Christopher Lee fighting with a lightsaber as much as you can, because again, the man was in his 80s fighting people in their 30s and 20s. It's not a very good, convincing fight.
Right.
I'm shaking things.
You
All
are.
right.
Anyway, so thank you for that, Lucas.
I'm hope people enjoyed it. I'm sure Aaron did between fidget spinning. So
I was using my one of my new fidget spinners a lot. Because you know how long it's been since I've seen those movies.
Oh, very, very long.
I could somewhat follow, but I did get lost at some points.
There's a reason they call me Streetwalker.
Anyway, so that's it for us, pretty much. If you didn't like the show, let us know. If you did like it, again, let us know. We always like the input. If you thought, Lucas was rambling too much, let us know.
If you want me to shut up, click the box.
If you think you want Mark back, well, tell him to stop drinking so much. If you want to see or hear from Mark's girlfriend, which I personally do, I think you should.
If you want to see a picture just of Mark's girlfriend's face to know that she's real,
I was gonna say bring her on and
harass her.
No, harass him.
Oh, okay.
Because usually that's pretty good if you get the girlfriend in on it, and then.
It's golden.
Oh yeah. So if you think we should get Mark's girlfriend in on a show one day, I think we should. Mark's against it.
Very much so.
Don't know why.
Because I don't know. Does he think we're competition or something?
Apparently.
I mean, you're taken and I'm fat, and so this is not exactly like a winning recipe we got going.
Well,
on
and
here.
his girlfriend's a looker too, so I'm not sure she would be.
I'm honest with myself about my appearance. I am a large bearded gentleman. I scare little people.
That's why you had a hard time giving away train tickets.
Exactly.
No, anyway, so yeah, so it's just I'm gonna really work on seeing if we can get Mark's girlfriend in here because I think it would be fun.
It'd be hilarious.
So that's something I'm gonna work on. We still don't have a Twitter because I am Twitter illiterate and still trying to figure out how to get one for Topic Talks.
You are a twitlet.
I'm a twitlet. And Instagram, same thing. Well, I know how to run Instagram. I just haven't had the time to set up an Instagram for Topic Talks, nor do we take enough pictures.
This is true.
We need to take more pictures, then I'll make an Instagram. So anyway, so if you like things we do. If you don't like things we do, let us know. If you could visit our website if you're at Spreaker.com listening to us, please hit the like button. I really do look at that at the end of every show. I'll go in and see how many likes we have, see how many people watch live, see how many people listen live, see how many people listen after. That's where we get most of our viewership from. So if you need us to move it to a different time, that it should be pretty doable.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not between 4 and 10 or 11 in the morning, I think Lucas should be able to make it. But no, if it's too late, not late enough, let us know. We can be pretty flexible with the time. Or if you like us how it is, let us know. And you can shoot on over to our Topic Talks Facebook page. Get us a like there as well. Again, I check all of that after every episode just to kind of see where we're at, where we stand. I do know that there are a lot of you out there, and we do have a following. So please,
we thank you.
We do thank you very much. Because it is a little bit of a pick-me-up when we go and we have this many people live, and then I go into the views of previous episodes, and we're like, we've had this many. We get all excited about it. So please, if you want to listen live, listen live. If you want to, it is free to download on iTunes. We don't have too much on iTunes. If you want to leave a comment and all that on iTunes, great. I do look at that as well. So anything you can do to support us would be great. I have been thinking about making T-shirts, so if you want a T-shirt, shoot me a message. If I get enough, I will put an order in for T-shirts as well. Just because I'm broke and buying T-shirts in bulk is expensive.
Exactly.
So either way, just let us know. Please, thank you for supporting us. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm Aaron Klingsmith.
I am Lucas Sanders.
Signing off.